In a television studio, shows Denitra Vance, Richard Pryor, and John Belushi sitting in chairs. Vance: Hello, I'm Rachel Justice, and today we're here to talk about people of color receiving fair treatment. Pryor: In other words, racial justice. Vance: Yep, that's my name, Rachel Justice. Joining us to talk about people of color receiving fair treatment is an African-American professor of African-American Studies, Dr. Paul Black, and a stereotypical blue-collar white male we found off the street, Peter White. Welcome, gentlemen. Pryor: Thank you for having us. Belushi: Wait, is this all going to be about race? Vance: That's right. Belushi: You know, race stuff is not really my thing. Vance: Not your thing, huh? Belushi: I watch sports and stuff, but other than that, I don't know much about black people. Vance: That's okay. We're looking for a diversity of perspective on the issues. Belushi: Okay, if you say so. Let's just hurry this up. My car's outside, and this is a bad neighborhood. Vance: Bad neighborhood? Now, what's that supposed to mean? Belushi: Never mind. Vance: Well, anyway, the first topic of conversation we are going to discuss today is the unequal treatment people of color receive from police officers. Dr. Black? Pryor: Yes, it's a form of modern Jim Crow that every time an African American leaves their home and gets in their vehicle, they have to fear getting pulled over by police officers and receiving unfair treatment based on the color of their skin. Belushi: Oh, come on. I drink with plenty of the boys in blues at the bars, and these are good, decent, hardworking Americans. We're just looking to make our streets safer. Vance: So you don't think police officers treat African Americans different than they do white people? Belushi: Of course not. Pryor: I'm happy to come on your program, Rachel, but we are wasting our time talking to this guy about racial justice. Vance: We're not just talking about me, Rachel Justice. We're talking about all people of color. Now, Mr. White. Belushi: Whitey. My friends call me Whitey. Vance: Very well, Whitey. Have you not learned anything from all the harrowing stories that have been in the media about the disparate treatment African Americans have received from police officers? I mean, look at George Floyd. Belushi: Lady, you offered me $50 to talk to you and give you my opinions. And my opinion is that being a police officer is a very tough job, and we shouldn't be accusing them of being racist. Vance: Unfortunately, it's not just racist officers we're dealing with. We also have deranged racist homeowners as well. Look at what just happened with the tragic story of Ralph Yarl. Pryor: The fact that an innocent African-American teenager can be shot in the head for merely going to a white person's front door is an outrage of the highest order. That the shooter was not arrested right away is all the proof you need of a racist system. If not for the protests and media attention, the shooter wouldn't have ever even been charged. Vance: Whitey, you have anything to add? Belushi: I gotta be honest. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Vance: A black teenager went to the wrong house to pick up little kids and was shot in the head by a white homeowner. Belushi: Oh. Vance: That's all you have to add, Whitey? Oh. Belushi: Well, when you said I was going to talk to you and give opinions, I thought it was going to be about sports or something like that. This isn't going to be made public or anything, is it? Vance points at a camera and says, We are live on TV right now, Whitey. Belushi's eyes widen as he notices the camera and stares at it. Vance: So now that you know that there are dozens of people watching on cable access as we speak, what do you have to say about the shooting of Ralph Yarl? Belushi, staring at the camera, says, I believe there should be justice in this case. Racial justice. Vance: That's my name, Racial Justice. Anyway, I'm glad we can all agree on that. Now to our next topic, reparations. Shows Belushi sweating profusely while staring at the camera. Pryor: As Malcolm X so eloquently said, If you stick a knife in my back 9 inches and pull it out 6 inches, there's no progress. If you pull it all the way out, that's not progress. The progress is healing the wound that the blow made. And they won't even admit the knife is there. Vance. Well said, Dr. Black. How about you, Whitey? Belushi wipes the sweat off his face with his sleeve while staring at the camera. Vance. Whitey. Belushi. I think that reparations are good. Vance. Very good. Now we're getting somewhere. Belushi. Can I go now? Vance. Almost. Just one more topic of discussion, and this comes from our esteemed panelist, Dr. Black, a tax proposal where people of color, as well as the LGBTQ plus community, would receive a moratorium of 20 years for which they would not have to pay any taxes, with an accompanying tax increase on white males in order to make up for the loss of tax revenue. Dr. Black? Pryor. Yes, this is a proposal I've come up with to address the various inequities in our system of governance. People of color and the LGBTQ plus community should not be expected to pay taxes into a system that systematically privileges white people over them. And this would help alleviate that concern. Vance. How about you, Whitey? Shows Belushi staring at the camera with tears in his eyes while profusely sweating. Vance. Whitey, hello. Belushi. As a white male, I think dead from the earth, we're not alive. It's Saturday Not Alive, starring John Belushi, Chris Farley, Phil Hartman, Jen Hooks, Norm MacDonald, Gilda Radner, Denitra Vance, and with many other special deceased contributors. Musical guest, Mark Sheehan, and your host, Julian Bond. Everybody, Julian Bond. Applause, applause, applause. Bond. Thank you very much. I was a social activist, leader in the civil rights movement, politician, professor, and writer. While I was a student at Morehouse College in Atlanta, Georgia, during the early 1960s, I helped establish the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, and in 1971 I co-founded the Southern Poverty Law Center in Montgomery, Alabama, and served as its first president for nearly a decade. I was elected to serve 4 terms in the Georgia House of Representatives, and later was elected to serve 6 terms in the Georgia State Senate, serving a total of 20 years in both legislative chambers. Following my career in the legislature, I was a professor of history at the University of Virginia from 1990 to 2012. From 1998 to 2010, I was chairman of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. Applause, applause, applause. Bond. And in 1977, I was asked to host Saturday Night Live in its 2nd season. And I started my monologue on SNL by saying that the audience was probably wondering why a Georgia state senator was hosting a television comedy show. I said that SNL was known for its free-swinging humor, for taking shots at the political establishment, for making fun of things that other people don't make fun of. However, as iconoclastic as they were, they didn't make fun of dead people enough for my liking, so being on this show finally checks that box for me. Anyway, I also said in the monologue on SNL that after I got to New York and met the people associated with the show, and after I realized the time and the talent that goes into putting that show together every week, I realized there was much more to it than my memories of yesterday, or the common hopes and dreams that all of us shared for the future. There was much, much more. Those people had me come up to New York from Atlanta to be their chocolate Easter bunny. Norm MacDonald comes out on stage and says, Bond, Julian Bond. Bond. Yes, Mr. MacDonald? MacDonald. Well, the producer asked me to come out here and tell you that the chocolate Easter bunny bit is completely inappropriate to say in this moment in time. Bond. And why is that? McDonald, Easter was already 2 weeks ago. He wants you to say that instead that you're here on our show to be our edible chocolate in honor of 420. Bond. Tell him thanks, but no thanks. Anyway, we have a great show tonight. Mark Sheehan, guitarist of the Irish rock band The Script, is here. So get ready as we cry. We'll be right back.